One of our favorite shows of the entire year, Selection Sunday, has been done. The committee has spoken. We have 68 teams ready to go for the NCAA tournament for the men. Is it still 64 for the women? They do 65 for the women. I can't
They're
remember.
60. No, it's 68. They got. I think they have a first four too, if I'm not mistaken.
They could. I've got to look. I've
I
I've
think
taken a
so.
glance. I've glanced at their bracket just very, very slightly, but I haven't,
Yeah.
gone through it like I have, with the men's or anything like that. Talking sports with Nooner and Forest. Like I said, one of our favorite shows of the entire year is this particular one right here, and there's so much to talk about, especially possibilities of NCAA tournament snubs, which I have a slight opinion about this year because I thought for the most part the committee did a good job. But with that being said, Brett, how are you doing this evening?
Well, I'm doing very good. But before we begin the show, I would like for us to give a shout out to our friends in Northeast Arkansas. They've suffered a lot
Yep.
this week. No, especially touches home with me. One of the affected areas was Paragould. They got hit pretty severely. Southeast Missouri got hit pretty hard too, up in Poplar Bluff and Kennett, and of course Cave City suffered pretty significant damage in Diaz in that area. So our thoughts and prayers go out to them as we speak. I know a lot of people still in Paragould, still to this day, and one of the people I know, her family's house did suffer damage, but luckily they were at the Greene County Tech Farmington State Championship game in Hot Springs, so they were not there at home. But again, I just want to say from the speaking on behalf of us on the on the Nooner and Forest show, we do send our prayers to the people affected by the tornadoes this past Friday.
Yes, and of course, right now there's been five that's been confirmed so far. The town of Diaz, which we kind of Josh Bateman and his wife Ash, they used to live there years ago. I think
Hmm.
5 or 6 years ago before they moved on to Salem. Diaz got hit with an F4. Is what that is what Todd Ucobian has reported is that it was an EF4, 190 mile per hour winds. Brad, I don't even want to know what that feels like. EF4 also in Larkin, which is just north of Caves. It's so like here's 56, which is one of them that got hit with that was an EF3. Cave City's next to it, and then right above it is Larkin. So you
Yep.
just had that small area right there with quite a bit of damage. I'm surprised that Cave Cities was not an EF4. I saw the damage, and I'm like, but it was almost an EF4. I think it's because you look at with the miles per hour with the winds and everything like that, it was only 5 miles per hour less than the one in Larkin, but because the damage in Larkin, they considered it an EF4. 56, which is a very small community up there, 140 miles, it was EF3. And then the town of Fitzhugh, 120 miles per hour, and so they're still waiting on. From so far, they're waiting on to see what Paragles was, which
Yep.
I'm assuming it's going to probably be an EF1 or EF2 because it wasn't nearly as damaged
Right.
as what
Yeah.
some of those other ones was. But yeah, that definitely, thoughts and prayers going out to all those towns. We definitely don't want to see tornado. We are in the tornado season, and
Yep.
unfortunately, um, it's dangerous out there. So natural disasters happen all the time. Um, we are no exception. Just
No, we're
because
not.
we're no exception. So thank God. I actually met someone last week who him and his wife went through a tornado, and they said it was one of the most humbling experiences they've ever had in their entire life. And so they always count their blessings every day. They were built a new house from it, and they were able to get everything paid for. They were very blessed with it, and they had family that was also there to help them out. So thoughts and prayers go out to the families and everyone that was affected by this, and um, hopefully for too long, hopefully we'll be able to get. Hopefully they'll have plenty of help to be able to get their homes rebuilt or whatever the case may be. And so, great.
Well,
Like I said, just a terrible, terrible situation.
well, I just want to say real quick, it was a year ago last year that, I was in Hot Springs Village. We had our own tornado that ripped through the village here, that tore up some homes and and did some pretty significant damage here in the village, which ended up being an EF2 tornado. Um, yeah, it's a very humbling thing. Of course, we didn't get hit, thank God. We just lost some power for like a day or so. We were back on, but I know some people that did get hit, and again, yeah, it's a very humbling experience, and it's just one of those things that we all go through. But here's a good thing about Arkansans, and I know especially up in that area in Northeast Arkansas, especially the people of Paragould. No, I know we know some people of Cave City too, in different area. But what we do know about those people up there is they do pull together. They pull together.
They do.
They help each other out, and I know that they're all going to be really they're going to be okay. So again, thoughts and prayers goes to people affected by Friday night's tornadoes, especially Cave City, all those towns we mentioned. Of course, Southeast Missouri too. Want to include them with Kennett and Poplar Bluff as well. Now, again, towns that we know very well, and now again, just sad situation.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, definitely a sad situation. And like I said, hopefully everyone's getting their help. I know a lot of cleanup's going to be happening and everything like that. So, like I said, lots of prayers definitely going out. Especially, the good thing is, right before spring break time. So so hopefully there'll be plenty more of help coming their way because a lot of people like to take off during spring break, and hopefully they'll be able to get some more help coming that way. So, very,
Absolutely.
very, yep, very, 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 very humbling time. So, all right. So let's get to it. The NCAA bracket is set. They did have Auburn as the number one overall seed. The one seeds were Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston. Those were the number one. Those were the number one seeds. So before we deep dive into the bracket, Brad, we sort of touched on this before we got on the air. Do you feel like there was any snubs? Do you feel like anyone really had a snub in the NCAA tournament?
It's hard to say snub because when you say snub, you're saying that you're the 68th, 67th best team, you know, in theory in the country. But North Carolina gets in, Xavier gets in with one. Both of them only had one quad one win each. Indiana gets snubbed out, and West Virginia gets snubbed out, which West Virginia had the same amount of quad one wins as Arkansas did with six. But they get snubbed. I don't know about their quad. They probably had a quad three loss or quad four loss. I mean, I don't know, but I imagine they did. But still, they get snubbed out. And the ACC was not as strong. And Ricky, I don't want to play this game where okay, the chairman of the NCAA chairman, the NCAA committee chair was the AD for the University of North Carolina. But you got to think that played some influence on it, although he might not have been in the room in those meetings. He might not have been in the room when they voted for North Carolina or not, but thinking it back of these people's minds as they're voting and as they're discussing North Carolina. Well, no, we don't really want to hurt the chairman's feelings. I mean, I don't think that happened, but I just wish there's a little bit more transparency with these meetings. Though we talked about this with the college football playoff. We talked about this. We talked about this seems like yearly with the committee, and this year they set these different standards, these different I guess standards. I guess standards is a good word for it. Like the net, the quadrant wins, those type of things, and it just seemed like again, you know, I get North Carolina probably got rewarded because they're not tough non-conference schedule, and yes, they had a decent record in the ACC. I get that. And I think Xavier probably is in the same boat as North Carolina, or in the same boat as North Carolina. Yeah, same boat as North Carolina. But I have a problem even with some of the seeding. Like for example, Michigan goes on to win the Big Ten tournament, and they're a 5 seed, and they got to face a pretty dangerous University of California San Diego team. Which, oh by the way, I got winning against Michigan in the first round,
I do too.
and because it's a very dangerous team. I mean, they get a 5 seed. I mean, so some of these seeding, and then Vanderbilt, which lost 3 straight games to end the season, they're comfortably in the tournament. So, and I get it because of the SEC, and I get it that the SEC won 89% of their non-conference games, and they did reward that. And I don't have a problem with that per se, but I just think that I think with the North Carolina one for sure, there's going to be a lot of questions about that one. from a lot of people, and there's already social media backlash and other people talking about it because again, I mean, if you look at West Virginia's resume, you look at Indiana's resume, you compare it to North Carolina's resume, uh, just 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 their resume alone. Now, especially Indiana. Okay, let's just you because Indiana does not have any quad three and quad four losses. Now they have four quad one wins, and I think quad two they're undefeated too, if I'm not mistaken. But they might be mistaken on that one. But we could look that up. But a team like Indiana gets snubbed out with a team like North Carolina that has one quad one win.
Mm.
Come on. I just don't get it. And then Xavier the same way. And I respect Xavier. I expect Sean Miller. I like what they do. And I'm glad for Xavier getting in because I like seeing the smaller schools getting in, but I just don't think this tournament they deserve to get in. In North Carolina, again, you just have to wonder if there was some influence of that committee why they're in or not. But again,
Yeah.
that's the two snubs I would say should have been in over Xavier in North Carolina. Most of the bracket I don't have an issue with especially the top four seeds. Of each region, I think they got that pretty well right. I think they got Arkansas seed very right at 10. I had Arkansas at a 10 or 11 seed. I had them at the one of the last four buys as well. I had Kansas around a 7 seed, so I don't have a problem with that. So most of the bracket I don't have. I think the snubs, but there are some the seeding I'm like scratching my head like, that's interesting. So, but anyway, that's just my opinions on it. But it's gonna be a great tournament no matter what.
Yeah, I thought, all due respect to some of these other teams that were putting higher seeds than Michigan. I look at like Texas A&M as a 4 seed. And I'm not here saying that Texas A&M doesn't deserve a 4 seed or anything like that. But I'm looking. I understand because the SEC and everything like that. Texas A&M also had a very tough schedule. Going 22-10. I think their net ranking was like 18th or something like that. So
Yeah, they probably got rewarded.
it was really, really strong, so they were able to get rewarded for it. Michigan, on the other hand, Brad, and one thing you have to understand, Michigan's net ranking was 27th. And I think that's one reason why you didn't see them as high of a win, but they were 11-7 on quad one wins, which is very, very respectable. They were 4-2 on quad two. So that's probably um, why they ended up getting the 5 seed instead of getting a higher seed. Because I look at Texas A&M as I pull them up, 21-10 overall. They were 7-9 in quad one. They were 9-1 in quad two, and of course they didn't have a quad three nor a quad four loss or anything like that. They also didn't play near the quad three, quad four loss, or excuse me, there wasn't near as many quad three, quad four wins, or excuse me, games as what Michigan had. So I kind of understand. And you also look at the ranked teams. Freaking Texas A&M played a crap ton of teams and their quad one. I mean, it was just so out there, and so
Well,
and
eh,
so it was just so out there. Then I look at Arizona. Now Arizona, I scratch my head on that one. I'll give you that much. I'm
well,
scratching my head a little bit on Arizona.
I was going to interrupt just real quick. Wisconsin also got a higher seed than Michigan, and Purdue also got a higher seed than Michigan. So just a couple more. Even
That's interesting.
The Big Ten 10 teams that got higher seeds than Michigan. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, 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 you're good, you're good. And let's see here. Let me go back to the Big Ten here just for a second. That I'm kind of researching. Of course, Wisconsin and Purdue both had better net rankings than what Michigan did. So I kind of understand. I sort of understand, kind of how we're looking at the seeding at and everything like that. What seed did Illinois get? I can't remember. Did they get like a
They
six
got a
seed?
6 seed. They got a 6 seed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting because if that's why are they not ranked? Well, I mean, I understand they got 12 losses or whatever the case may be. And let's see here because I don't think. They also beat Michigan. That's strange. So yeah, I'm kind of scratching my head on this one. 'Cause they played Michigan once and they beat Michigan, but I guess their overall record is what really got them through this. So like I said, for the most part, I guess the seeding's okay with me. I'm not the biggest when it really comes to seeding, but I will say this much. North Carolina does not deserve to be in the tournament. I will defend that till the day I die. When
Yeah,
you have
amen.
one quad one win in your entire season, and I understand, don't get me wrong, all due respect, all due respect. and North Carolina, but I'm looking at your wins. You had one quad, and it was a neutral site game against UCLA. Other than that, you didn't have a quality win on your entire schedule that I say, oh, that's a quality win. Oh, also, they had a quad 3 loss. When I look at West Virginia, let me go to West Virginia's real quick. When I go to West Virginia, I understand they had 3 less wins. Oh, by the way, they didn't have a quad 3 loss. They didn't have a quad
No,
4 loss. Their quality wins. They beat Gonzaga on a neutral site. They beat Arizona neutral site. They beat Kansas at Kansas when Kansas was ranked high. They beat an Iowa State team, which that was a home game, but Iowa State was second in the country at the time. They beat Cincinnati and they beat Utah. When you take that into consideration, and I understand the ACC in general is tougher than the Big 12, but just in my opinion, and I understand, like I said, I understand that the net ranking for West Virginia is at 51. I understand the net ranking is at North Carolina, but you have to win these games. You can't just say, "Oh, I have a net ranking of this," and you only have one quad 1 win to really like suffer through, whatever the case may be. It just doesn't make sense to me. Indiana, on the other hand, I'm okay with. I understand they were 4-13, but they also didn't have a quad 3 or a quad 4 loss, and so that's where I'm kind of scratching my head and I'm going, okay, I'm looking at more quality wins than North Carolina. I'm looking at a better record in the quad 3 realm. Why is North Carolina in the tournament? And there's only one explanation. They're a blue blood, and there's influence on the committee that puts North Carolina in there. So yes, I am very upset that North Carolina's in there, even with their 22 wins. I'm very upset that North Carolina's in there because, like I said, you have to back it up with the schedule that you played. And I'm sorry, but North Carolina didn't do that.
yeah, I'm looking at their quad 1 and quad 2 wins for North Carolina. So they were 9-12 with the quad 1, quad 2. West Virginia was 10-13 with quad 1, quad 2. So pretty comparable there. And Indiana was 9-13. So again, very comparable if you combine the two quads together with each of these three teams. And Xavier, by the way, was 9-11 between the two quads as well. So again, they're very comparable, but the problem is, like you said, they have one quad 1 win. One. That's it.
Yep.
If they had more, let's say 3 or 4, I could see that, but they only had one. And Xavier too. I mean, if you look at Xavier real quick, yes, they're 45 in the net. I understand that, but they were 1-9 in the quad, you know, in the quad 1 games. They're 1-9, so they only won one quad 1. And in San Diego State, the net ranking, you want to talk about net rankings, they're ranked below West Virginia, and they're in. I'm not saying what San Diego State should be in, but they're in. But
Yeah.
I mean, I just, I like to say, I just don't see the logic. I know and of course, by the way, San Diego State is 8-10 or 8. Oh no, excuse me, they're 8-8 into two quads. So anyway, I know the vice chairman tried to explain it away, but he didn't do a very good job on the CBS broadcast of it. I know ESPN usually has them on after CBS interviews them, so I don't know how he explained North Carolina to them, but I don't get it. And here's another thing with North Carolina too. You had a chance to beat Duke without Cooper Flag, and you couldn't do that.
Yep.
And here's the thing too. They were down 24 points at one point during the game, and you could say, "Oh, they made this great comeback and all that stuff," or you could actually explain Duke let off the gas. And I mean that's the thing too. You could explain both, but my point is, no, you couldn't beat Duke without Cooper Flag in the semifinals. So I mean, you had another chance for a quad 1 win, and you blew it pretty much on a lane violation, but really,
Pretty much.
but still, but my thing is, Ricky, they don't deserve to be in. They're in. They're in because
Nope.
they're blue blood, and they're in because they had influence on the committee. Um, I mean, the committee's got to do a better job. I mean, I don't know how they can be more transparent. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe they release the notes. Maybe they let the people see their discussions, maybe not seeing the vote of who's going to be in or who they're vote for to be in as 1 seeds, 2 seeds, that sort of thing. But they have these discussions that are open that people can kind of listen into, or that sort of thing. I mean, something's got to give to make sure that this is more transparent. But I mean, again, we deal with this in the college football playoff as well. I mean, again, it's just one of those deals that you just have to, kind of, now check in. But again, here's the thing, too, Ricky. We've seen this before. We've seen the last four teams in, and we see a team that says, "Oh, they don't deserve to be in the tournament." They go make a Final Four run. So one of these teams might make, make the Final Four run. We don't know,
It
but
won't be North Carolina.
it won't be North. No, it won't be North Carolina. That's for sure. Uh, if it's any team, I could actually see San Diego State doing it because they've done it before when it was a surprise. But I mean, we'll see. But point is, I think the committee got North Carolina wrong for sure. You could also argue they got Xavier wrong as well. And I think the two teams should be in as West Virginia and Indiana.
So, what do you think about the Kansas Arkansas matchup? Because that one right there is the that right there is the one that's the head scratcher. Because both of these teams, you could argue, oh my gosh, you could argue that both these teams actually suck.
Well, they've been very inconsistent. Now, that's why I think Arkansas as a 10 seed could win a game. But you said, Corey, who their opponent is. I agree with that. I agree with that at the time. Well, they got a very favorable opponent in the first round. And you know what? If the NCAA never ever says again, "Oh, we don't look at the matchups, we don't look at the brackets and say, oh, we're going to put this team here to make some interesting storylines," I call bull crap because
Yep.
you got two ex Kansas assistants who have met each other in the NCAA title game, meet each other in the first round with Kansas and Arkansas. And knowing good and well, if Arkansas wins, we know St. John's is probably going to win their game, and we know the history with Calipari and Rick Pitino in the second round. I mean, don't tell me that was not intentional because I very much thought so. But anyway, I mean, I think, hey, you know what, Ricky? I think the best ideal is, you have Nolan come out of retirement for the second round. No, and just be like the 90s again, man. Have Patino versus Nolan in the second round. I mean, why not? But anyway, I think but I think it's gonna be an interesting matchup. I actually picked Arkansas to beat Kansas in the first round. I did do that. Uh, because Kansas is just as inconsistent. I mean,
That is true.
they're
That
just
is
as
true.
inconsistent. And I think Arkansas has played a tougher schedule. And no, at least with Arkansas, they can build a big enough lead that at the end they can hang on. Kansas, they're going to either get blown out or just, they just lose. If they don't have a good game, they just lose. I mean, either Arkansas will make a comeback or fall just short, or Arkansas will build a big lead and allow the other team come back win the game. So I mean that's been Arkansas season all year. I I have Arkansas winning the first round. I think it'll be a great matchup. I mean, both Calipari, obviously, Bill Self are both Hall of Fame coaches. And of course, if Bill Self wins the game and he gets to play Rick Pitino in the second round, that'll be a great matchup too. Great coaching matchup as well. So, but I do have Arkansas win the first round, but I do
I
have them
think
losing the second round.
I think what's crazy is that there's a possibility the winner of this team could possibly make an Elite Eight Final Four run. That's how
Yeah,
crazy this game could be.
I agree
I'm
because
telling you, man, that's how
I
crazy it
almost
could
picked
be.
Arkansas beat St. John's. I almost picked that game, but I
Oh
didn't.
man.
But I didn't.
So anyway, no, I did do the latter though. I've got Kansas beating Arkansas. I just don't think Arkansas's the matchups. They're pretty even. If you want to say that they're pretty even or whatever. Both teams are super inconsistent when it comes to when it comes to their respective schedules or anything like that. When I look at Kansas, they score 76 points per game. They're slightly better defensively. Slightly better. They're slightly, like I said, slightly better defensively than Arkansas is. When it comes to rebounding, Kansas I think is a little bit better on the boards than what Arkansas is. I don't think it's not much. Just that being said, uh, I don't I care who wins this game because I really want Arkansas to win this game. But remember, this is kind of the whole deal of what happened that 3, 4 years ago when we beat them in the second round. But when we had when we had Eric Musselman, we went on that run.
We were an 8 seed.
We were an 8 seed then. Now we're a 10 seed. And both teams suck even more than what they did. So like I said, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I have this feeling that if there's going to be a 10 seed that's going to win, it's going to be Arkansas. The only other 10 seed that I have that I like is Vanderbilt, just because I think they, I think size. I think they're going to give St. Mary's a little bit more size difference, and they do play very well. But um, like I said, Arkansas is probably going to be the most favorable 10 seed of all the 10 seeds. But I just
Yeah.
don't see it happen.
Well, I
I've
got
got
you.
Kansas.
Well, I do have Utah State beating UCLA.
I don't think so. I think UCLA is a little bit too much for them.
That's the other 10 seed I have. I have St. Mary's beating Vanderbilt. I think St. Mary's, with the size and how they play, I think they can slow it down enough where they'll beat Vanderbilt. But of course, they'll lose in the second round to Alabama. But
So let's go through each of the regions. Let's start with the South region, Brad, because I definitely want to dig in. Of course, you and I both said UC San Diego can shoot the ball and they can play defense. This is a complete team here.
yes,
This is a team that would not shock me to be in the Sweet 16 to face Auburn. Would not shock me one bit.
and
They're
I got them in
mostly
the Sweet 16, so I'm going to let you know that now.
I do have them in the Sweet 16 as well, but I do have them losing to Auburn in the Sweet 16.
I do
So,
too.
but the one thing with San Diego that makes them so dangerous is that they're senior led. They're loaded with upperclassmen, which typically, when you make a run in the NCAA tournament, that's what you have to have. You have to have seniors who can play and who've had that kind of experience. They're sort of on that little bitty excuse me, they're sort of on that deal. But I will say this much. Auburn has 0 favors in the South region for a #1 overall seed. You're telling me
Yeah,
they got to play Louisville possibly in the second round, and Creighton is not a pushover. I've got Louisville beating
no.
Creighton, but that's a tough second round matchup.
Well, we got a pretty familiar bracket just about. Yeah, in the South region, yeah, they didn't give Auburn any favors, but I got Auburn winning their matchup against Louisville. I do have UC San Diego beat Michigan. I almost went with Yale over A&M,
Yeah.
almost, but I picked A&M to win that one. I got Ole Miss winning the whoever survives San Diego State and UNC. I would love to pick Lipscomb,
I'm the same way, dude. I was so close to doing it
but
too, man.
I picked Iowa State, man. I picked Iowa State. I do have another 10 seed win. I have New Mexico beating Marquette. Uh,
Really?
I do. They are the regular season Mountain West champions, but I think I like New Mexico. I think they get it done. And I do have Michigan State beating Bryant, obviously. So that's my first round matchups. You want me to go ahead go along with the bracket?
No. Let's stick with first round for right now. Like I said, the only other thing that I have different from you is I have Marquette beat New Mexico. I think Marquette is I thought Marquette could have been a 6 or a 5 seed if they had not slacked, because that was their big thing was they had such a strong start, not as great of a finish, and I think that's one reason why you see Marquette as a 7 seed. Wouldn't have
They
surprised me
are
if you would have seen
dangerous. They're
but they're
dangerous.
they're 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 a dangerous 7 seed, and that's going to be a great matchup in the second round with Michigan State. But I will tell you this much: the committee did Michigan State no favors, man. Bryant's pretty good, man.
Brian,
Oh
not
my,
bad.
oh my gosh! I thought Bryant could have been at least a 14 seed. Switch them with Lipscomb. I mean, come on, man. Bryant's one of the best.
Lipscomb's not bad either. I mean,
So
they
I'm
played
looking.
Arkansas earlier in the season, and yeah, we got to see them.
So I'm looking at I'm trying to remember what statistic I saw at Bryant's that I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty good. Let me look. I think it was rebounding. I'm like, Bryant's 5th in the nation in rebounding. Come on, man. This is upset alert right here. This is an upset alert game right here for a 15 seed just because they rebound the ball so well. And I'm telling y'all, teams who can rebound the ball, teams who can defend, and teams who can shoot. They usually Bryant averages. I don't care who their conference is. Scratch their conference. Don't care. They average 81 points per game, and they average 41 rebounds. Brad, they're fifth in the nation in rebounding. Oh my gosh. They did not do any favors in this entire bracket whatsoever. Would not surprise me if Bryant pulls the upset off. And when they do, I'm just going to be like, oh, come on, I should have picked it. But I'm not going to.
That's what probably will be me too. But after saying that, but top is though that they're usually very physical and very good at rebounding as well. So I mean, I'm not too concerned about Bryant out rebounding Michigan State in this game, but that's just
I
my opinion.
don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm not
You
too concerned.
you wanna you wanna you wanna put a little friendly side wager on it? I'm just saying.
We might discuss that afterward.
I might just say, not money, people, not money. I can't gamble. We can't gamble with the pastor or anything like that. But I'm just saying in general, this would be great. Vanderbilt tickets next year.
Oh my gosh, that's a sideways.
I'm just saying, man. This bracket is killing me, man. I mean, come on. All right, so the only
It's a
reason I
tough
did
bracket.
the only reason I did not pick Lipscomb is because they shoot a ton of threes. But Iowa State, though, they've got to make their shot. That's one of the things. They're so inconsistent. Would not shock me if Ole Miss beats them in the next round.
And
Uh,
one of their key players is out too for the tournament as well, I believe.
for Iowa State or Ole Miss.
Iowa State.
Yeah, that's going to hurt too. So, all right, Brad. So go ahead and finish up their South region. So your Sweet 16. I know you've got Auburn and UC
I
San
got
Diego, like I do.
Yep, and I got Ole Miss and Michigan State.
Okay.
So that's who I got in the South. And I got Michigan State, Auburn in the Elite Eight, and I got Michigan State advancing.
Okay. The only difference you and I have in this region is I have Marquette and I have Iowa State. I do have Iowa State getting past Ole Miss. That's going to be tough, just because I know how tough the SEC is. And I also have Auburn coming out of this South region. All right, let's go over to. You want to go to the East or you want to go? No, let's go to the East. Let's go to the East bracket. East bracket has Duke facing the winner of American and Mount St. Mary. Oh my gosh, they did not do them any favors. Yeah, they did. Anyway, Mississippi State, Baylor, Oregon, Liberty, Arizona, Akron, BYU, VCU, Wisconsin, Montana, St. Mary's, and Vanderbilt, as well as Alabama and Robert Morris. All right, Brad, who do you got in each of these games?
So I got Duke over. Obviously, I got Duke advancing. I got Mississippi State beating Baylor, although I'm kind of tempted to change it, but I do have Mississippi State winning that one. I got Liberty over Oregon. Liberty's a very good team. They can score and they can defend. They can defend very well because I think the statistics is if you don't score 70 against Liberty, they have won every game this year where a team has not scored 70. So I got Liberty winning that. I do have Arizona beating Akron, although I was tempted to pick Akron in that game. I got BYU over VCU. BYU shoots a ton of threes. They can shoot it out of the gym when they're on. And I got Wisconsin over Montana. I got St. Mary's over Vanderbilt, and I do have Alabama over Robert Morris.
So yeah, and I'll put it to you this way: that Robert Morris team, they can rebound the ball as well. So just a heads up on that 2-15 matchup. Even though, that's definitely a long shot. All right, so I also have Liberty beating Oregon. Let's see. Let me just go down the list. I've got Duke, obviously, even though American is. Can I just be honest with you? There's a 16 seed that's going to beat a 1 seed. It's American. They're not going to beat Duke because I don't think they're going to be able to match it favorably with them. And I think these 1 seeds this year are stronger than what they were last year and what they've been in the past. But if there's a 16 seed that's out there, I like American a lot, and I also like Mount St. Mary's. But I think American's a little bit better of a team. But I'm putting that out there. I do have Mississippi State beating Baylor. I also have Liberty beating Oregon. I've got Akron beating Arizona.
Oh, nice.
Akron can shoot the ball. They can play defense. Yeah. They can rebound. I understand like their conference, whatever the case may be, but I do have Akron. I have Akron.
I almost picked that. I almost picked Akron.
Yes, I do have Akron beating Arizona. I do have BYU getting past VCU for the same reasons that you have. I have BYU getting into the next round to face Alabama. I have them beating Wisconsin in the second round. So I'll go ahead and finish mine up. just because I kind of already did, kind of already, did the whole thing. I do have St. Mary's beating my Vanderbilt Commodores, but here's the they're my Vanderbilt Commodores in football and women's basketball, but everything else I don't care. So,
Good Lord.
anyways,
Women's basketball? You care about
women's
women's
basketball.
basketball?
Hey, don't you? Hey, I don't know what I'm just kidding. It's just football. But anyway, so anyway, now Brad, I will say this much. Even though that this is my matchups for the Sweet 16, I've got Duke and Akron in the Sweet 16. I really think this Akron team really, really do some damage. I really believe that this Akron team, strongest 13 seed of the entire tournament. They are that strong, in my opinion. Wouldn't shock me if Liberty gets past them to the Sweet 16, but I just it could destroy my bracket by picking these upsets, but I don't care because my bracket's probably gonna be shredded by the end of the first weekend anyway. Because some weird team that we've never heard of before wins.
A
It usually
16
works,
seed actually wins the game. Yeah.
and yeah, that will destroy everybody's bracket, especially mine. Because I'm telling you, Brad, this if there's any bracket that's going to be chalk this year, it's going to be this one. So so I do have Akron in the Sweet 16. I have them losing to Duke in the Sweet 16, but hats off to Akron. They're actually not bad. Um, Brad, I got BYU beating Alabama in the Sweet 16,
I do too.
and I have Duke beating BYU and coming out of this region because Cooper Flag's coming back, and we've already seen how tough this team is with him, and we've seen how tough this team is without him. And I really believe Duke is one of those teams that's a very, very complete team. So the only reason that I think BYU is going to beat Alabama, their defense. Alabama is one of the worst defensive teams in the entire country. They're not winning the NCAA tournament with the defense that they play. They
Oh,
play like it's an NBA basketball game, and it's not. BYU is going to get in their grill, and they're going to defeat Alabama. So that's who I've got. I've got Duke coming out of this region.
we got a pretty similar bracket again. I got Duke winning against Mississippi State in the second round. I got Liberty. The only difference is I got Liberty in the Sweet 16. I got
Okay.
them beating Arizona. I got BYU beating Wisconsin. In the Elite Eight or in the Sweet 16, I got Duke beating Liberty. I got BYU beating Alabama, and I do have Duke as well getting out of the East region, beating BYU.
Sounds like a plan. All right, let's go down to. Oh, where's my thing at? Come on, don't you do this to me yet. Okay, there we go. Got it moving again. All right. Thought it was freezing up for me. Let's go down the west. All right, so we have Florida, Norfolk State, another strong 16. Yukon, Oklahoma. Really? Okay. Memphis, Colorado State, Maryland,
Yes,
Grand Canyon, Missouri, and Drake, Texas Tech, UNC, Wilmington, Kansas, Arkansas, St. John's, and Omaha. All right, Brad. Go ahead and go through your first round matches. Go ahead and do your entire bracket. Do you have any upsets in this region, by the way?
I do have a couple, but not many. But I got Florida beating Norfolk State. I do have Oklahoma getting past UConn. I think UConn's just struggling. I just don't think it's their year. I got Colorado State. I know Memphis fans going to hate me for this, but I do got Colorado State beating
Wow,
Memphis. Colorado State's won 10 straight games.
that is
And
true.
also, and also too, right now, Memphis is going might be without their point guard for the NCAA tournament. So they were without him today against UAB, and so they might be without him during the NCAA tournament. So watch out for that. I got Maryland beating Grand Canyon, although I almost picked Grand Canyon. Again,
Ooh, I wanted to as well.
another team that could really beat you. Now, I have Drake beating Missouri. I think Drake can slow it down, play defense. They're 30-3. That's a very good Drake team. I got Texas Tech beating UNC Wilmington. I already told you I got Arkansas beat Kansas, and I got St. John's beating. Oh goodness gracious! And oh, by the way, the Omaha team is coached by Courtney Crutchfield, so another Arkansas alumnus. He's coaching the
He,
Omaha team.
he's
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's the coach for Omaha, but I do have St. John's beating Omaha in that game. So you want me to go through the rest of it too? So anyway,
Yeah, go ahead.
so in the West I got so second round I got Florida beating Oklahoma. I had Maryland beat Colorado State. I have Texas Tech beating Drake. I do have St. John's beating Arkansas in the second round. Sweet 16, I got Florida beating Maryland. I got Texas Tech beating St. John's, and I'll have Florida over Texas Tech in the regional final.
Again, our bracket's kind of similar. I mean, dadgum. Let's see here. I got Florida. I got Florida, obviously. I have UConn beating Oklahoma. I know that UConn has struggled this year, but I think they have one more win in them. Wouldn't shock me though if would not shock me one bit if Oklahoma pulled it off. I do have Memphis beating Colorado State. I know that like you said, Colorado State has won 10 in a row, but I think this Memphis team. I have a strong feeling that they're going to at least win one game in this tournament. The winner of this game, Brad, could make the Sweet 16. I know Maryland's a lot better than what they've been, but they're not historically they're not a great tournament team. They just haven't been able to have great tournament teams.
Especially recently, yeah.
I was close the same way as you, but I went ahead and pulled the trigger and just kept Maryland. And then Missouri beating Drake. UNC Wilmington is not going to be a pushover for a 14 seed. They're not the strongest 14 seed in the field, but they're pretty good. But I will. I've got Texas Tech. I have Kansas beating Arkansas. I do have St. John's and Texas Tech advancing to the Sweet 16. I also have Texas Tech beating St. John's, Florida getting Texas Tech. And so far, my first Final Four matchup will be Auburn against Florida.
Okay, now I got Michigan State and Florida. So
all right. Let's go ahead. Let's go over here to the Midwest. You have Houston against, oh gosh, let me see here. This SIU Edwardsville. Edwardsville. I'm trying to remember.
Illinois Edwardsville.
That's right. Southern Illinois Edwardsville. If I'm not mistaken, aren't they in the same conference as ULR?
I want to say yes.
That sounds about right. I'd have to
look it up.
I'd have to look it up and see. All right, we got them. We got Gonzaga, Georgia, Clemson, McNeese, Purdue, High Point, Illinois, the winner of Texas Xavier, Kentucky, Troy, UCLA, Utah State, Tennessee, and Wofford. Who do you got in this one, Brad?
So the first round, I got Houston beating SIUE. I got Gonzaga beating Georgia. Now I almost pulled the trigger here. I know you don't like Will Wade, but
I can't stand that son of a gun.
But I did pick Clemson because Clemson nearly made the Final Four last year, and they got a lot of the players back from that team with them this year. So I do think Clemson does get it done. I got Purdue beating High Point, although I nearly picked High Point because of Purdue's history, tournament history. I got Illinois beating the winner of Texas and Xavier. I do have Kentucky beating Troy. I got Utah State beating UCLA, and I do have Tennessee beating Wofford in the first round. Going on from there, I'm trying to get over here real quick. So the second round, now here's where it's going to get interesting, my bracket, okay? So I have Gonzaga. I have
yes,
Gonzaga
you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Here's the thing about Gonzaga. They're an unachieving team this year, and they are very capable of beating Houston. I mean, they had a game against Kentucky where they should have won, but they ended up losing. But I got Gonzaga beating Houston. I got Clemson beating Purdue. I have Illinois beating Kentucky because I just Kentucky to me, they're a very inconsistent 3 seed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
That makes sense. And then I got Tennessee beating Utah State. In the Sweet 16, I got Clemson beat Tennessee, and I have Tennessee beating Clemson to go to the Final Four.
So you have Clemson beating Gonzaga, right? Not Tennessee.
Yeah, I have Clemson beating Gonzaga.
Okay. So I obviously have Houston winning. I have Gonzaga beating Georgia. I do also have Clemson beating McNeese because I hate Will Wade, but it would not surprise me one bit if McNeese wins this ball game. Just to really tick me. They're going to do it to tick me off, Brad. That's what's going to happen.
Will Wade's going to get a job somewhere, going to tick you off.
Oh gosh, why not? Go to high school. Just not in Arkansas. Hey, you know what? Go to Arkansas so I can coach against you. Anyways, I was the same way with you about High Point, just because you both know Purdue Purdue's NCAA tournament. It's
I
just
know
not
it.
very. It's just not very good. They're so funny to watch in the tournament.
They're like
Everybody's like,
Virginia. Man, Virginia
everybody.
loses a 16 seed, they win the national championship. Purdue loses to a 16 seed. It gets all the way to the final game. Yeah, I mean, it's just what it is with Purdue.
I'm tempted to pick High Point here. I just really am. I don't know why. I may change my pick to High Point before all this is said and done. All right, now I will say this much: High Point scores more per game, and they give up less per game. Let's remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's remember. Let me see how they do in rebounding. Let's see here. Let me look at their rebounding numbers. Their rebounding. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, I love teams who rebound the basketball, and it looks like they don't. They're not in the top 50 anywhere. Okay, we're moving on. So, let's see here. So, let's see here. I've got Illinois beating Winter Texas State. You have seen 11 seeds. That's the thing, Brad. I don't have a single 11 seed moving on this year. Even though you usually have at least one 11 seed that does well in the tournament,
Well,
don't
I have
have one
Drake.
this year.
Yeah,
You
I have
have
Drake.
Drake. You have Drake, but I just don't see that happening. Kentucky, Troy. I have UCLA beating Utah State, Tennessee beating Wolford. I have Houston beating Gonzaga, even though I 100% agree with you about, not 100%. Even though I agree with you about what your take is with Gonzaga and Houston, one of the things with Houston though, Brad, that we can't forget, they have one of the best defenses in the entire country. So that's something else that you have to take into consideration. I do, however, have Clemson moving on with Purdue. I do have Clemson beating Houston in the Sweet 16. I'm sorry, the Elite Eight. I do have Clemson beating them in the league for the same reasons you mentioned it. They have a lot of the same players that they did last year.
You mean
The
Sweet
one
16, right? Beating Houston, Sweet
Sweet
16.
16, yeah, Sweet 16. The only thing that really worries me about Clemson is that a loss they had to South Carolina earlier in the year. I think now with it being the and everything like that, with the experience that these guys have had, I think that's going to take more of into play than what's going to take than what early in the year or whatever it may be. And then I have Kentucky beating Illinois, Tennessee beat UCLA, and then I have Tennessee beating Kentucky to go to the Final Four. I've got Auburn and Florida in the Final Four, as well as Duke, Tennessee. That is my Final Four.
So the only difference we have is in the South. You have Auburn winning. I have Michigan State winning it.
You have Michigan State beating Auburn?
I do.
Okay. Okay. I
I
like it. I
think.
like it.
Yeah, I just think no. Number one, Tom Izzo. You can't count out a Tom Izzo team in a tournament. That's number one. And number two, I just think Michigan State is one of those teams that's just under the radar, and they can match up physically with Auburn, and they can and they got shooters this time around. So I think Michigan State can get it done. And of course, if they would have won the Big Ten, they probably would have been a 1 seed, possibly. I mean, could have been, but yeah, I got Michigan State beating Auburn. But yes, so we got the same Final Four: Florida, Michigan State, or Florida. No, you got
I
that's
have
the only
Auburn,
difference.
Florida.
Auburn, yep, Auburn, Florida, yep. That's the only difference.
All right, Brad. Who do you have winning the Final Four matchups?
Has Go ahead. So as much as I want to pick Michigan State, I got Florida beat Michigan State because Florida's got a lot of depth. I mean, they probably got the most depth in the tournament. In that matter, they can send guys in and out. I got Florida winning, and I do have Duke beating Tennessee.
My gosh, I have the same exact thing. The same exact thing. I think Florida, like I said, I think Florida and Duke have the most complete teams of this entire tournament, and that goes a long way with saying, because when you look at Florida's bracket, let's be honest. When you look at Florida's bracket right now, if you were to take any of those teams over Florida, I would say, what are you smoking? Are you on
Yeah,
crack? Because to me, this is with all due respect, I think Florida has one of the easiest routes to the Final Four.
I agree. I don't disagree with that.
All right. Duke, on the other hand, Mississippi State is not a pushover. Mississippi
No,
State has the size, they have the speed, they have the shot shooting, they have whatever it takes to be able to beat a number one seed. That's not going to be an easy second round game. Then you have well, I have Akron, you have Liberty, but either way, those
if
little
there's
smaller seeds, those little smaller, the double digit seeds, they have nothing to lose in this tournament because they never win the tournament. So they
Well,
have
and let's
absolutely
say
nothing to lose.
if Arizona got through it and they got to the Sweet 16, that's not an easy matchup for Duke either.
No,
And even with Baylor placing Baylor in the second round, that would be an easy matchup for Duke either. With
no.
Baylor, I mean, and so I mean, Oregon wouldn't be an easy matchup if they happen to get to the Sweet 16. So yeah, I mean, Duke's got a
I
harder road.
think I think Oregon's overrated, but that's just me.
So,
Yep,
anyways,
I really think Oregon's overrated. So and then let's just say for instance, let's say Alabama has to play Duke in the sweet in the Elite Eight. Let's say that has to happen because like I said, the only reason I have BYU and there's the same way you have BYU in there. Alabama doesn't play defense. BYU does. BYU can score even though they don't score as many points per game per se as what Alabama does. Excuse me. Hang on one second. Even though they don't, like I said, even though they don't score as many points per game as Alabama does, their defense makes up for it. They don't
yeah,
have to. They don't have to score 81 points. They may have to score 80 points in Alabama, but you get what I'm saying. And so yeah, when I look at this and when I look at all this, and I'm like, if I'm drawing up a legitimate bracket here, um, I really feel like Florida has the easiest path. Duke has a much harder path, but at the same time, uh,
there's
excuse me.
only one team that Florida would have to look out for. I think if any team, that would be Texas Tech. That'd be the only obstacle they have. I think Texas Tech can match up with them physically, and they can play defense. I think that's the only
Well,
team that,
and then you still have players from that UConn team that won last year, but they're just not.
of
There's not
course,
the team they were. There's not the team they were.
right?
But like right now, Florida's got the favor in every freaking game known to man from here from here on
Yeah.
out. I mean, it just. I really, like I said, I really feel very confident about this bracket. I really do.
And who you got winning the national championship? Florida or
Florida.
Duke? I got Florida too.
Yep, I got Florida.
We
I said I
agree.
told I said I was gonna I told my father-in-law this afternoon, I said, "I don't care what seed Florida gets. I want Florida to win the national championship. They got the most complete team. They have the most depth. They can score. They can rebound. They can play defense. I love this. I love Florida
Bruce
team.
Bruce Pearl was asked this question: who is the best team in the SEC? His answer was Florida. They won the SEC regular season. Auburn did, but he said Florida is definitely the best team. And of course, they beat Auburn at Auburn. They beat Alabama at Alabama. They split. They went 2-1 against Tennessee. They had a blowout win against Tennessee at Florida. They did get blown out at Tennessee, but going to Tennessee, that's a hard game. And then they win in Nashville against Tennessee, which is virtually a home game for Tennessee. So they win the SEC title game there. So I mean, Florida's been very, very much tested as far as teams that have played and that sort of thing. So I just think Florida gets it done. I think Duke definitely will keep it close. How many points do you have in this game scored? So that would be the tiebreaker.
I put 160 because
I
I
put 160. No, seriously, 160. Oh my God,
I
no.
see I can see less because defensively, I think they match up so well with each
I
other.
know it.
Um,
And they both can score too.
they both can score too, and then you got Cooper Flag on one end. So
Yep.
that right there is definitely going to be
Oh
um,
my goodness.
that one that's hilarious on how similar our freaking
I
brackets
think
are.
I
I
think
sh-
this is the first time in the history of our relationship we actually agree on just about everything on a show.
yeah, that's I mean
Until
we agree on a lot of stuff, but not when it comes
but
to like tournament
no,
brackets and things like
no.
that. I got to look back and see who I had last year. I just know my bracket was done
We
after the
both had
first weekend.
well, we both had UConn. I think I had UConn. That's how I won the challenge. That's how I won the bracket. It's because I had UConn. And I think you had somebody
Yeah,
like
because
something.
you watch UConn three, Pete. I swear. I
Yeah,
would.
yeah. UConn three peats. I'm just like, I'm never doing this again. I mean, I'm just gonna go. This is it'd be ridiculous seeing UConn win 3 straight, especially after the season they had. But man, I tell you, but yeah, I mean, I about to say, only thing I could get us off the wagon is if I mentioned the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm not gonna do that.
Oh Lord.
How's free
Ah,
agency, by the way?
leave me alone. Ah,
Oh
swear.
my goodness. Well, um, so you had an interesting Friday. So I went to Winter Jam, and you talked about the now. Somebody else referenced the ending of the Benton and Maumelle game
Yep.
on Facebook. I had a referee friend. I was on their crew a couple games this year, and his name is KT Marshall, and he was mentioning on Facebook how wild the ending was as well. And I kind of got a little glimpse. I saw where Bryant was, or Bryant. I mean Benton. Congratulations to Bryant as well. They won their the 6A state title
Yes,
as well.
yes, they did.
And we stunk at picking state champions. I think we only got 2 right out of the
Oh
6.
no, I got more than that. I got more than two right. I know that. I know you got more than two right.
I don't know
It
about
was.
that.
I'm just saying now on the men's side, maybe not. 'Cause I know I had Springdale beating Bryant. I had Benton beating Maumelle. I had
I
no,
had been big by man.
You had Mills winning.
I did have Mills.
I think I picked no, I did pick Mills because I thought Morton wasn't going to get the job.
So
Yeah,
we had 3. So we had
so,
3.
so yeah, and then let's see here, two. I had Mark three winning, and I think they got beat.
Yeah, we had Mark Tree winning too.
I have to look and see. I don't remember. Then on the girls' side, I know for a fact I got the Class A girls right. Gosh, they were good. I got DeQueen wrong, so I picked Queen.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I picked PA and DeQueen won, which I was sad
uh,
about that one.
met PA. I got
Yeah,
Farmington right. And
Farmington, dude, I saw that game. Farmington has a freshman dude. Freshman was the MVP, and I swear that girl's so good. She's the Arkansas version of Caitlin Clark, freshman version. The girl's incredible, dude. She is incredible.
so anyway, so Benton and Maumelle, everybody's talking about.
So Benton was down with 20 seconds left in the ball game. Benton, I can't remember if they scored a layup or if they went to the free throw line to cut it to 3. Maumelle scores a layup to go back up by 5. Benton comes back down. They score a quick layup, hand the ball in, get a quick steal, and then Maumelle fouls and Benton goes to the free throw line. The kid, I can't remember the kid's name to save my life. He makes both free throws, so Benton's down by one. Benton's down by 1 with about 8 seconds left in the ball game. The Maumelle inbounder. Of course, you could tell the referee had told him to stay put. He actually starts moving off the baseline, and the referee saw. Of course, the referee quickly blew his whistle as soon as he saw it. It was a very very good call. So Maumelle is still up 1 with 8 seconds to go. Inbounds it. Travion Burgess, their best player, gets around, scores a very hard contested layup, and Benton goes up by 1 with 4 seconds left. Maumelle had that was the final timeout. They couldn't they didn't get it at half court or anything like that. Inbounds the ball 4-3-2, and then loses the ball. Tries to get it, and they didn't even get a last second shot up. And so if my memory's correct, I don't think they got a last second shot up. They ended up winning. Benton ended up winning. It was one of the wildest things because the entire ball game. Of course, Maumelle went up big to start the game. Maumelle had a great game plan, and a lot of it was to play aggressive and physical with their players. They haven't been used to the physicality. They haven't been used to very much physicality all year, and so um, that was their game plan. You can tell that was the game plan from the start, and it was a terrific game plan.
Yeah.
Um, then you look at, and then I look at, oh, what was it? There were times Ben would go up by like 1, and then Maumelle would go right back up by 6 or 7 points. So I thought with a minute to go, the game was over. I thought Maumelle was going to win it. They were going to be celebrating it. And I'll be honest with you, Brad, they deserved to win that game. But and I said this, you have to beat a team like Benton, you have to play 32 minutes. They played 31 minutes and 40 seconds. That last 20 seconds of the ball game is where they lost it. And when you I just and there's so many things that you can nitpick and pick out of it and everything like that, but man, I hate it for Maumelle. I really do. And so, but it's basketball. It's going to happen. And now next year's going to be interesting because I think Maumelle's probably going to be the heavy favorites next year.
Probably, yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I was talking to some umpire people that's familiar with basketball. They were telling me the same way as well. If you keep up with golf, Roy McIlroy versus JT Spawn tomorrow morning in a 3-hole playoff. They're tied for the lead at the Players Championship. So if you're interested in golf, there you go for that.
No one cares about golf.
Hey, hey, listen, people in the
Or
village cares about golf, okay? That's why we
that's
got
the people in
17
the
freaking
village.
we got 17 freaking golf courses, and we do have people in the village that listen to this podcast. So there you go. I have given a golf report, at least on the Players Championship and all the majors, okay? That's my
Are
golf
there
report.
any, just out of curiosity, were there any golf carts damaged in the tornado last year?
No, there I don't think so.
I'm just wondering, man. I'm
I,
just
I don't
wondering.
know. I
You
don't
said it
know.
came through. I figured one of their golf carts. I'm serious.
But seriously,
One of their houses rip apart. Oh well, as long as my golf cart's good, we still go golfing.
well, that's all that matters,
Just,
man. As long as the golf course
just,
I'm gonna go
just
play a
saying.
round of golf. I'm gonna go play a round of golf. But anyway, but the Masters tournament will be coming on next year. Or next
Don't
year, next
care.
month.
I don't
I,
care.
hey, one of my bucket list items is to go to Augusta
I
one
would
day.
love to go to Augusta, man. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Uh,
I am somewhat of a golf fan, but I will say this. I would love to go to Augusta. Augusta is beautiful, man. At least it looks beautiful on TV. I don't know if it is in real life, but at
they
least
say it is. I knew a
oh man.
pastor. I knew a pastor. He got invited to go to Augusta because he had you gotta get invited by a member. It's not kind of like that for tickets, something like that. He was able to get invited to Augusta. He went one time and he said it's just like they describe on TV, but much better. So he said, if you
I
ever
am
get a chance to go to
sure
Augusta,
you have someone in the village that has connections. You get those connections.
I'm gonna get. I'll look into those connections so we can go to Augusta, Georgia, and we both could get that off our bucket list. Matter of fact, I had a volunteer at SWAC. He was a pilot. He used to fly people that would go to the Masters. But here's the thing, though, they couldn't fly in Augusta. They had to fly like to I believe like Athens, the regional airport there where the Georgia Bulldogs are, or even Atlanta, and then drive to Augusta, which is not very far really, but from either of those towns. But yeah, that's a bucket list for me. I want to go to Augusta. I want to go. There's a few golf courses I want to go to. I want to go to Augusta. I want to go to Pebble Beach in California. I would love to go to St. Andrews down in Scotland, the home of golf.
Oh,
Uh,
Scotland. I would love to
yeah,
go to Scotland one
I
day.
would go. I love go Scotland to the home of golf, and yeah, those are three right there on my bucket list for golf. Those three golf courses I would love to go to one day. But yeah, so anyway, so if you're interested in golf, they're playing a 3-hole playoff tomorrow to determine who wins the Players Championship. Oh yeah, TBC Sawgrass. That's another bucket list because they have that Island Greens, the 17th green, where it's all surrounded by water. I mean, yeah, so there you go. Um, but anyway, that's a few things. But anyway, that's the golf. But I mean, again, I think Ricky, overall, this is going to be a very good NCAA tournament. We know it's always unpredictable,
Mhm.
and we know we're probably going to get some crazy upsets. And probably, like you say, by the end of Friday, maybe by the end of Thursday, we're like ripping our brackets up and saying, "I'm done. I'm absolutely done."
Done. I'm done. It's like I said, there's a reason why it's called March Madness. There's a
And
because it's
Somebody like Tabitha wins our bracket challenge.
Tabitha's probably not gonna put a bracket in the bracket challenge. She's gonna look at this and be like, okay, I don't know who they are.
Well, I know one time she randomly guessed last year.
I,
She didn't do too bad.
I love you too, honey. Do you want to be on our bracket challenge? You ain't got better things that you got to do. You mean to tell me you can't take 5 minutes to fill out a bracket? And
Uh,
just to think I was gonna invite you to the podcast next week when we get back from the cruise, baby.
oh my god.
She's not invited on the podcast ever. She wants to do a podcast, me and her. I think it's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. Why would you want to do a podcast with me?
I have actually asked Emily to do a podcast with me. She said that she really don't want to do a podcast with me either.
So Tabitha wants to do a podcast just talking about whatever random junk we can think of. Well, I do that enough. Why would I? I mean, I'm just saying, like
I
in general.
I actually talked about that with Emily. Actually, to be honest with you, just talk about random junk.
So like that's the thing though. It's like I don't know. I don't know. We may try it one day. I don't know. I don't know. But I will say this much. There was one thing that she had a great idea on. Because a lot of the times when I'm watching some random basketball game or if I'm watching some random football game that I don't care about or anything like that, if it's just some crappy game or whatever it is, there's some sayings that I have that we like we're gonna like make up a broadcast of a game or whatever it is, and we're just gonna say some of the stupidest stuff. Like if they do something stupid, we're gonna be like, well, I think that was the greatest play ever of the game. Nope. Worst play in American history. I mean, no, stuff like that. But
Yeah, oh
I don't
yeah.
know.
Well,
I don't know.
you know, um, we talked about this one time. We should have a DA Hall of Fame episode. We still should do that one
Man,
day.
the only problem is I can't think I don't wanna go back and watch every episode of every DA that we've
Well, you
given
know
that.
what? We don't have to really do that. What we do is
Oh,
we
we can
get
have
a
how about this? We do a segment with DA Hall of Fame. We put them in the DA Hall of Fame, and we just leave them in there. We ain't
yeah,
gotta tell them what it was. We already know that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are in there for sure, for whatever
yeah.
stupid thing that they've done in their recent like I
Well,
said, we don't
yeah,
discriminate. We don't discriminate Democrats, Republicans on the show.
yeah. We know that the guy last week with the half and half shirt where he's the house divided
Oh,
shirt
did
where
I?
he has
No,
he has
don't do that. We're not
it's sucky.
oh my gosh.
Wow,
We're
he
not going back to that.
wow, he
We're not
is holding his wife.
I'm not going back to that moment, okay? Okay, I'm just saying, man.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, I
or
swear. This
or
is the
the newspaper article that said homicide victims are less likely to go to the police.
I remember that. I remember that one.
Oh
That one
my
was
god.
that one was a good one. Speaking of which, let's go to DAs of the week.
That's right.
Who's your
So
first who's your first DA of the week?
I don't know. I only got a couple. I don't know if it's really a DA or not, but my first DA kind of goes to Fran McCaffrey, the former Iowa basketball coach. So he decides that he's going to get thrown out on his last game ever coaching at Iowa. He gets
Good
out.
man.
He gets thrown out during the Big Ten tournament, and then the next day he is fired. So for that, I don't whatever how you want to interpret that. You can interpret that as a shout out or a DA. So yeah,
I think it
Fran
could be
McCaffrey.
both. I
Yeah.
think it could be both.
So there you go, Fran
I
McCaffrey.
see it. I see his point of view.
There
I
you
don't know.
go.
He is pretty old. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sure he'll retire. I don't know if he'll want to get into the job anywhere else.
Mhm.
I
So
need
that
I need to look up and see how old he is. I'm not sure.
I don't know. He might coach at a smaller school if anything.
So Brad, I have two DAs, and they both relate to the Dallas Cowboys. So just go ahead and
Oh, I love
be
it. I love it.
go ahead and let's just go ahead
Oh,
and call it what it is. So my first DA of the week goes to Demarcus Lawrence. And the reason why why he is on my DA list is not just because this doofus decided to sign with the Seattle Seahawks. I don't blame him for wanting to leave Dallas. All right, let's get this straight. I don't blame him for wanting to leave Dallas one bit. Not one. But to say and have the nerve that you left Dallas to have a chance to win a Super Bowl in Seattle, you're
ah,
out of your freaking mind right now, man. You are out of your ever living mind. I want you to understand something. I don't even know who your quarterback is at the moment because Geno Smith is gone. Who else do you have in Seattle? I mean, you're not winning a Super Bowl in Seattle. Maybe in the
mhm.
next 25 years, but you're going to be ancient by then. You're not going to be playing the football by then. You're going to be playing football by then. I don't understand why you would want to leave Dallas for Seattle. I understand why you'd want to leave Dallas, but don't sit there and give some DA remark that you left for Seattle for a chance to win a Super Bowl, knowing good and well the Seattle Seahawks have about as much of a chance as the Dallas Cowboys for winning the Super Bowl. And then my other DA of the week goes to whoever decided to let Cooper Rush sign with the Baltimore Ravens. Why in the world would you let I don't get it. A consistent quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, Cooper Rush was a very consistent quarterback for us. I understand he was second string, but I have been one of the biggest Cooper Rush fans. I have told everyone on this show, I've told everyone that I know that Cooper Rush should have been the starting quarterback and they should not have re-signed Dak Prescott. Now, who's our backup quarterback? Trey Lance. Are you kidding me right now? There's no hope. It's always a joke being a Dallas Cowboy fan. I can't take it no more. I tell y'all, I can't take it no more.
I love it. I love it.
Ridiculous. The most ridiculous asinine franchise in the history of the NFL.
Well, actually, I got two more DAs to the week.
You do that, by the way, because I'm ranting right now, man. This is terrible. Absolute travesty going on in Dallas right now. You go keep someone that throws 15,000 interceptions versus someone who actually cares about winning football. Oh, you're killing me, people.
Jerry Jones for you, fans. Jerry Jones.
Oh.
Well, that shows his brilliance as a GM. Anyway, my second day of the week goes to Seth Davis of CBS Sports, also from Fox Sports as well. So John Calipari announced that Booger Flan was going to come back for the NCAA tournament, and he accused Arkansas of, quote, playing bubble gamesmanship ahead of the selection Sunday. Everybody's playing bubble gamesmanship during this entire process. Of course, you can't blame John Calipari for playing this game. If it's going to help your team, why wouldn't you? I didn't think it was going to help them anyway because with Booger Flan, they went 0-5, 0-4, I don't know, 0-5 in the SEC anyway. Yeah. So that doesn't matter anyway. So they were going to be a 10 seed. They were going to be 11 seed. It doesn't matter. So my second DOA week goes to Seth Davis because he does not know what the heck he's talking about. Apparently does not follow Arkansas basketball. My third and final DA of the week goes to these idiots who is pushing for a adult egg hunt with flashlights that you shared with me.
Hey, I shared that one and I forgot about that one.
I know.
Stop stealing my DX of the week.
So I am mentioning it. What the heck are you doing?
That's
no. This adult egg hunt for eggs in the dark with your flashlight. Live music, egg hunt, barbecue fire, pits, prizes. Oh, here's a kicker for you. Wine and beer plus more. So let's add alcohol to this. Oh, this is a perfect idea. I can see this working very well for this adult egg hunt. And by the way, if you know where Bob Brook Farms is, this is where this is located in Roland, Arkansas. So
yeah, only
in so also in Arkansas as well.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle of nowhere, a brilliant idea. Involve alcohol, flashlights, and egg hunt. Oh, you're killing me. So absolutely asinine. And congratulations, Bob Brooks Farm. You're our newest inductee to the DA Hall of Fame.
Glow in the dark egg hunt.
Plus beer and wine. Fire.
Oh my gosh, I had a fire.
This is brilliant. This is so brilliant.
Could you imagine? I found an egg. Nope, that's not food.
No. Yeah, I found it. No, no.
Oh my gosh. I can't take this. I can't take this no more, man.
Hey, no, it's bull crap.
Bull crap. Where'd we get you have some drug out there. Where'd the bull come from?
And oh, by the way, Ricky,
are we in Texas?
You know something else, Ricky, by the way? I got another sport we need to follow.
Oh, no, I don't want to hear this. Okay.
Collegiate Japanese football.
Yeah, you sent me a clip the other day about that. And I'm like,
what? I was looking this up. You know, they got promotion and what they call it. So if you lose a bunch of games, you get below the line, you get delegated or relegated to a league below. They have that in their college football. Why can't we do that? We should do that.
It would make sense. It would make
I mean,
sense.
we should be that in American football. We relegate the Vanderbilt Commodores to the MAC.
Why would you want to do that?
I'm just saying, no. Or this year, Kentucky. We relegate Kentucky to the MAC because their football stuck this year, and we promote Boise State to the SEC.
All right, one more thing. Shout out to Williams Baptist, the ladies. They lost yesterday to Campbellsville, Kentucky, 80-64. They were outscored 13 points in the first quarter, which is really what hurt them the rest of the game. And they just really could not get going. They did win their first round game though. They just lost their second round game. So shout out to that. One heck of a season for the Lady Eagles. I would, like I said, I don't talk to Mayberry. I don't talk to hardly any of them. But do not be surprised if you see his name pop up in a job before too long. As far as like, I could see him going Division II somewhere if he wants to. He doesn't have to. He's been at Williams lifer, is basically a lifer there. And
Yeah,
so I mean he's been a part of that. He's been on that campus for what, 20 years now, I think, if not
yeah, pretty
longer.
much.
And
Yeah,
so like I said, he could be a lifer at Williams, but I could also see him moving on and trying a bigger challenge. Who knows? I don't know. Like I said, I don't talk to Mayberry. I don't talk to anybody that is close with him or anything like that. I just follow what I see on Facebook and just wish him the best. But
yeah, same way here.
one heck of a season. That's a hard place to win. You and I both been out there. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's
Yeah,
hard to
hard to
get
win.
people out. It's hard to get people out there in the middle of a rice field. But if you look at his roster, I mean, he's getting graduate student. I mean, he's getting he's getting seniors. He's getting transfer portal. Basically, I guess they have a transfer portal for NAI now. But that's who he's getting a
Hey,
lot of experience.
well, that's good. I mean, and shout out to that. Also, shout out to both ASU men and women's basketball as well. Now, the men, they did get invited to the NIT. They're the 3 seed. They're going to play St. Louis on Tuesday at the Convocation Center. So I
Should
know
be a good
Jones.
ball game.
Could be a good ball game. Jonesboro will show up for that. They've shown up before for the game for NIT games, so I think they'll show up for that. Also, too, the ASU women, they're they're in the NCAA tournament. We did want to give a shout out for that, but unfortunately, they get Connecticut the first round as a 15 seed. Yeah, not the draw that you wanted, so they're gonna have to go to stores to see if they can pull off an upset. Probably won't happen, but shout out to the ASU Indians. Oh my goodness, just the ASU Red Wolves for getting to the NCAA tournament. So shout out to those teams as well. And of course, we did end our DA segment with this. As long as the human race exists, there always will be
DAs every single time. So like
absolutely.
looks like tickets have not gone on sale for that yet.
They probably will be pretty soon, I would imagine. But yeah, so also too the Nighthawks, the defending champions for junior college basketball. They made it back to the tournament. They lost, I think, the first or second round this year. And I think so shout out to the Nighthawks for another great season in junior college basketball. So again, Ricky, let's just be real. No, there's a lot of good basketball going on at all sorts of levels here in Arkansas. So, if you want to watch some good basketball, you can go pretty much anywhere and watch some pretty good basketball. So
So according to this, tickets will go on sale tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You can get $25 tickets for adults, $15 for Arkansas State students and youth 17 and under. General admission parking will be available for $10 in the lot. So apparently they're going to be able to make a little bit of money with that parking, which I don't blame them. That's not a whole lot to go to a tournament game.
no,
This is
that's cheaper. That was
that's cheap.
cheaper. Yeah, that was cheaper than me paying $20 for parking at Simmons Bank Arena for Winter Jam.
Oh, they charge $20 for parking at Winter Jam?
$20 for parking. It charged me if I went to Winter Jam with general admission. Now I bought tickets ahead of time. I bought VIP for me and Paisley, so it was like $60 for both of us together. But anyway, but if I went general admission, it's only $15 to get in the door because they take a $15 donation.
And so
But the
parking's more?
parking was
Wow.
more. $20
Bunch of
for parking at Simmons Bank Arena
you
right now.
bunch of jerks.
You're on the DA list.
You're on my DA list. They gonna charge more for parking than the actual ticket itself.
So you actually
messed
paid
up.
more for parking than you paid to see Ann Wilson, Colton Dixon, and Skillet.
Goodness gracious. All right, Brad, I'm hopping off here. It's been one heck of a show.
It has
Still
been a
cannot,
heck of
still cannot
funny.
believe we basically have the same bracket minus about 10 games.
Yeah. And if you want to go flash like Ed Cutting in Roland, Arkansas with alcohol involved, well, good luck to you.
Oh my gosh. Must be in Texas. I see a bull. Anyways. I'm telling you, some DA is going to do that.
Listen.
If you want to join, all right. So thank y'all for those who have listened to this far. If you listened to this far, if you didn't listen this far, I don't blame you. I don't think anybody does. Anyway, thank you for watching. Also, be sure to check out our tournament link. You may join us, join our bracket. It's for fun. I'm not giving anything away. I'm sorry, I'm poor. That's just what happens. You know, I just.
Oh, by the way, before we get off the show, so Mark Hermig did his brackets.
Oh gosh.
In one of his brackets, he has Duke winning one. Another bracket, he has Auburn winning. And then he gets really interesting. He has Colorado State winning in a third bracket. So there you go.
I mean, I guess I could see it just for the simple fact is it's just okay. I'm just going to throw this one away.
There you
Next
go.
one's going to be this one's going to be a throwaway one.
So next time we should consult our expert bracketologist, Mark Herman.
There you go. I'm surprised he didn't pick UC Santa Barbara. Wait a minute, they're not even in the tournament.
Or he could have picked UC San Diego. I actually would respect that.
UC San Diego, yeah, UC San Diego. That would have been awesome. Instead, he picked Colorado State. Like I said, I don't know. All right, that's enough. I've had enough fun for one day. It's time for tournament. Cannot wait. We will be out. We will be out next week. Next week is spring break. I will be on a boat somewhere enjoying myself. And
There you go.
yeah, so we will be back. So let's see here. If my math is correct, this coming week is going to be the first, second Russell. We'll be back for the Final Four. Right after the Final Four, we'll actually be back for the championship game. That's so sad. And then we'll probably be crying over our bracket anyway, so it's okay.
It doesn't matter. Well, I think we might be taking a little short vacation. I'm taking the Sunday off after spring break, so gonna do some relaxation, try to get the batteries refueled. I mean, it's been crazy. In my church, we got a renovation project. I meet with 2 contractors. And I have a meeting at 7:00 in the morning. So there you go.
7:00 on the. Well, then again, I teach school for a living, so I can't really say 7:00 is early because it really is early. But for you, that's early.
I know, especially in the village. I feel like I should be retired.
That is very true. And you are the latter, my friend. Unfortunately, you are the latter, unretired. So, all right, that's enough. We'll try to do better next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.